Hello, Wid fam. I'm going to take these out because I cannot hear myself. This is Leo with One Happy Widow. Thank you so much for joining me live. I know that I don't get a chance to do this as much anymore. I try not to let more than 2 weeks go by without posting something. So if you're here and you're catching us live, thank you so much for joining in. And if not, you're watching on the replay. Thank you so much for joining in and watching too. I always forget to talk about this in the very beginning. So if I don't say it now, I'm going to forget. So I just want to, if you're new and you haven't seen any of these videos before, or, you haven't watched in a while, I just wanted to remind you of some resources that I have available to you before I forget. So I talk a lot about journaling. All right. So it's a really important step for us in our grief journey. So I do have some journal pages for you. I'm working on getting some prompts in there too. I'm almost done with those. So I'll upload those as soon as I get it done. But I do have some blank templates for you that you can download for free. And I put the links in the description below, but also in the chat box. They're in the chat box there. It's onehappywidow.com/journal. So you can find those there. Also, Jonice, hello. So good to see you. Thank you for joining. Jonice hardly ever misses a live. I'm so happy to see her when she logs in. The second thing I wanted to mention is our Facebook group. So we have most of the people who chime in live are already a member of our Facebook group, but I have not been able to pop in there hardly at all in the last couple of weeks because of all the craziness that's been going on. But yet, even without me, the group moves on, and the group members are so good at supporting each other and just kind of welcoming new members in. I just approved 18 new members today. I'm about to turn my heater on. It is cold down here. It's really cold in Georgia this weekend. But yeah, I even noticed somebody was like, "Hey, has anybody heard from Leo or seen anything about her lately?" And everybody's like, "Nope." And they just keep on posting and helping and supporting. And so if you're in this grieving process, no matter where you are in the grieving process, if you're in anticipatory grief and you're dealing with a spouse with a terminal illness, if you are in fresh grief and you're not even sure what is going on right now, if you're in that transition stage where you're going from fresh grief to try to figure out how do you learn how to live life without your spouse, or if it's been a while and you just feel like you need some support, or you might be in a rut, any of those situations you might be in, you will find support and help from our Facebook group. That is also listed in the chat and in the description down below. It's just facebook.com/group/onehappywidow. And if you are ready for that pivot, the people who are kind of coming out of fresh grief, you're in that, what we call the valley of grief. You're trying to figure out, okay, I'm past all the one-offs and I'm really ready to try to figure out my life and how do I move forward from here and try to find my new normal, as much as I hate that term. I do have a course available. So, and that one is at griefpivotcourse.com, still available. It's a self-paced course. So you kind of take the classes as you go. It's 28 lessons, and it's got a lot of things in there to kind of help you shift your mindset. So what I do here on my YouTube channel and in the Facebook group is I really try to normalize grief. Specifically the grief of losing a spouse and how that affects our whole life. I try to help people who have lost their spouse to try to find ways to move forward and to know that they're not alone, and to not wonder if they're doing it right. Because that was my biggest thing, is I felt like I wasn't doing this right. I'm not grieving right. I'm not doing it right. And I was searching out for, validation, and to hear about other people's stories and how they were dealing with their grief, to make me feel a little better, like, okay, I'm not so weird. Like, okay, I'm doing these things and I don't know if that's right, or if that's weird, or if that's abnormal, or if something's wrong with me. And so it just kind of helped me to connect with others who are going through the similar process and the similar journey, just to know that I wasn't alone, and that the way that we grieve is okay, as long as we're not a threat to ourselves or others. Then however we decide to, get through it, it's okay, as long as we're continuing to move forward. And when we get stuck in a rut, we kind of reach out for support so that we can help move each other along. So that's kind of what I do and really the only way that I do that is by sharing my experiences. And I'm not a counselor. I'm not any kind of professional doctor or therapist. I'm just a widowed person who's going through the widowed process, and I do happen to be remarried, but I do still consider myself widowed because I do still feel the feelings and I still going through the process. My husband's widowed also, and so we are going through it together. I do see some familiar faces. Laurie, hey, hey. And Tim, hello, Tim. Tammy Jones, hey, group. And GGZ is waving, hey, y'all. And yes, 18 new members. Of course, the 18 new members is because um, I haven't like accepted new members in like 2 weeks. So they've kind of been, building up. And so there was 18 members that were waiting to come in. I think I declined two of them because one of them looked like questionable. I'm really picky about who I let come into the group because I don't want weird people to come in who have ill intentions. And then like if they just joined Facebook 2 days ago or something and I look in their other groups, I'll try again. So anyway, I think we got 16 new members or something like that into our group. So the group is still growing, still support others, and that's very exciting. So and today I want to talk about, I know you're probably wondering how the wedding went. Um, a new beginning. Hello from Carolyn, England. Hello. Thank you for joining us. I love it when we have people from different countries and different time zones. It's just so cool to know that we are out there like reaching people um, in so many different places. It's very cool to know that we can do that with the internet. Technology can be a blessing and a curse, but in a situation like this, it's really a good tool. So, for those of you who don't already know, my second daughter got married last weekend. Um, she is 20, and it was one of those in August, hey, I got engaged, and by the way, we're getting married in 2 months or 3 months or whatever it was. And so, it was one of those. I'm not going to call it a shotgun wedding because she's not pregnant, but it was just like we're doing it and now we're doing it like we're doing it right now. And so we kind of had to quick throw things together. And I was honest with her up front to let her know that, hey, this is up on the eve of the holiday season. We're trying to get bills paid and things like that. And I told her right up front, this is all we can do to help you money wise. Like, this is what we can do. We even offered if she would just go to the justice of the peace, we'd give her $1,000 that she could use on a nice honeymoon. And right now, cruise prices are so low, they could have had like a 5 to 7 day cruise and had a great time on a honeymoon. And they were like, "Yeah, cool." And then, like, the next week, they're like, "Okay, so the venue and the dress and the so and so and the wedding planner and the DJ and the." I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa." So, I told her what we could do, and we did a little more than what we said we could do. And so, that's all. We were honest and upfront about it. And when you're given a 2 month notice to do something like that, I'm not going like way into debt so that she can get married in 2 months. So, I did pay for the majority of her dress. I paid $600 towards her dress, and we gave her $500 towards her whatever honeymoon she can eke out with whatever. I think they probably just ended up paying bills with it. And, I made some things for her. I mean, I did some things, and then money wise. So that's what we did. So anyway, so Dee says, hello from Southern California. Janet says, yes, I made it. And Vancy says, hey, been watching you on YouTube for a while. I have benefited from it a lot. I am also a widow from Vancy, Jamaica. Nice. Hello, Barbara. So we've got a lot of familiar names and a few new folks that are joining in too. So welcome everybody. So yeah, what I'll do today is I even had to take notes because it was so there was so many things I didn't want to leave out any of the details. So if you've watched for any kind of length of time, you know that we have some family drama. And that's just, I mean, I know a lot of you do too. And sometimes I'm taking my glasses off. Sometimes I think that kind of comes along with the widowed experience because first of all, family members don't know how to handle us. Like in the beginning, you might get all of that great support. And then it seems like about 2 months in, everybody just kind of goes back to their life, and you're like, wait a minute, What about me? And so, it's that transition is tough. Also, when you have in-laws, um, they don't know how to treat you anymore because you are their family, but sometimes it's weird, like sometimes they take their negative emotions out on you because you represent the pain that they feel for the loss of their son or daughter. And so it's hard. A lot of times family members will turn their back on you, especially in-laws. And so and if y'all have followed anything about my situation, you know about Momo. And so Momo played a big part in this wedding, the planning, the actual day. It was interesting. If you like stories about drama, I got them. I got them for you. But at the end of the day, the wedding did take place, and she did get married. There were many, many positive things about the wedding. It was a gorgeous, gorgeous ceremony. And so I'm not going to say it was all bad, but I will share some of the drama only because, in hindsight, it's laughable. And so, and some of it was just like plain crazy coincidence that you would not, like, if you were not there, you probably would not believe some of the things that I will tell you that happened. And so, anyway, Barbara says it's good to see you. Yes, Barbara, thank you so much for checking in. And I've seen you guys I know that you're active on the group, and thank you for carrying on in my absence. I'm hoping to be able to get more visible soon, but school is school, and y'all know I don't even want to talk about that right now, but it's still busy. I'm still working 70 plus hours a week on school stuff, so that's not going to change anytime soon. Anyway, so let me go through the process of like the wedding from the right before the wedding, actually, like the end of the planning, transitioning into the wedding weekend, and then I'll tell you about all that happened. So, first of all, about a couple of weeks before the wedding, Braylon was in a like a hair salon apprenticeship program that leads to her certification to get her cosmetology license, which is what she thought she had wanted to do for the longest time. So she was taking college classes. She quit that so she could do this apprenticeship that leads to the same thing. And she's young, she's grieving. She's had her issues and ups and downs, and she sometimes has setbacks, and she has problems with authority, and she has dead dad issues, and it is what it is. And so like a couple weeks before the wedding, she was let go from the salon. And I don't want to get into all the details about what happened because I don't know and I wasn't there. And all I know is her side of the story. And her side of the story is, of course, that, you know, they are terrible and she is the victim. And so I'm sure there were misunderstandings and things that happened on both sides. I'm sure mistakes were made. I'm sure misunderstandings happened. I don't know. All I know is she is no longer employed in that at that salon, and she is no longer in the apprenticeship program to be a hairstylist. And of course, now she's like, well, I didn't want to be a hairstylist anyway. That's not my dream anymore anyway. So onto a different path for her. So she is in online school right now, college, taking business courses. And so we'll see where that there's not like a specific, core path for her, just business. So, I told her just keep on taking those classes and something will manifest and she'll figure it out. But of course, I was like, well, are you sure you still want to go through with the wedding? And she's like, well, yeah, okay. So then her fiance hurt his back on his job. He is a non-emergency medical transport person. So he basically takes people to doctor's appointments who cannot transport themselves due to health reasons, due to age reasons, due to disability reasons, due to weight reasons. So most of the time it's older people and overweight people. I mean, that's the majority of his clients that he transports. And so a lot of times he picks up people that are overweight because they're too big to drive or too big to fit in a car and they need to go to the doctor. And so he was trying to help put a person into the van and he hurt his back. So he was out of work for a couple of weeks. And so when he's not working and he's a contractor, he is a independent contractor. So there's no workman's comp. There's no leave. There's no family medical leave. It's just you don't work, you don't get paid. So she's out of work, he's out of work, and they still got this wedding that they're trying to plan. I tried to encourage them to maybe just go to the justice of the peace, like I said in the beginning, and then just take what little money they could have and just go on a trip. They wanted the wedding. And so we're moving forward. So during all of the planning, hello, Sue. Thank you for joining in. Good to see you. So during all the planning, Momo, of course, is putting in her 2 cents. The reason why, the biggest reason why, is because Braylon decided to get married in the same place that Dewey and I got married, which was in the back part of the property where Momo lives. At the time that we got married, she and her husband owned that property. But before her husband passed away, he sold that property off. So it's still behind her house. She still lives in the front property, but the property in the back, which she can still see, it's back there, but she's not own it anymore. But she's in contact with the people who live back there, and they worked it out so that Braylon had the permission to go down there and get married down in that area. We got married in June. This was in November. The weather's a lot different in November down there than it is in June down there. So anyway, so Momo's like, man, I got this. Don't worry. I'll pay for this. I'll arrange this. I'll pay for that. I'll arrange this. I'll pay for that. She's shelling out money. I don't know where it's coming from because she's unemployed. She's on Social Security. It's not any of my business. Braylon never asked her to pay for anything. She just, Momo just came up and, offered. And so when Momo offers to pay for things, then she feels like she has a say in how it all gets planned. And so Braylon and Momo are doing this for weeks and weeks and weeks because Momo wants things so and so way, and Braylon wants things so and so way. And when Braylon says, well, it's my wedding, and Momo says, but it's my money, I'm staying out of it. I'm like, you know what? I did what I said I could do. I gave you some money for the dress, which got ordered and came in. I gave you some money towards your honeymoon, that do whatever you want with it. And my job is done. So as far as the planning goes, Braylon had a wedding planner that she hired. So we let her deal with all that. We even let her deal with Momo, and she almost quit over Momo. Just saying. So I was so glad that I was not involved in any of the Momo stuff. I heard it. I get text, from Braylon, OMG, I want to, whatever. She's pissing me off. She's pissing me off. Like, I wish she would stop. I'm like, she's not my mom. I don't know what to tell you. And so anyway, so that's just like, and I think that's a lot of typical stuff when you're planning a wedding. There's somebody paying, there's parents that want to interject their, stuff. So from the very beginning, Momo wants the guy who lives right next door to her to officiate the wedding. He's a preacher. He was also the same guy who officiated our wedding. And so at that time, he was in his 60s, which means now he's almost in his 90s. And Braylon's like, no, I don't want a 90-some-year-old man officiating my wedding. So she had asked my friend Lori to officiate the wedding. So she's like an online ordained whatever, person to officiate. So my friend Lori said yes. All right. So like a week or two before the wedding, Braylon says, hey, I need to talk to you. It's very important. Can we go out to eat somewhere? I got to talk to you. And I don't want to get into all the details. Let me just say they had a big argument and the wedding was almost canceled. She's like, I can't marry him. Some issues had happened. They had a big fight. And she's like, I can't do this. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay. So the wedding was almost canceled because of, big argument, misunderstandings, and just disappointments and things. I don't want to get into details, but okay. So then a few days later, okay, wedding's still on, but instead of it being friends and family, it's just going to be family only. And one of the biggest reasons is because Momo was trying to invite a bunch of people, friends of hers that Braylon doesn't even know, to the wedding. And Braylon's like, I don't want people to come to my wedding that I don't even know who they are. And so Momo's getting upset. Braylon's getting upset. So Braylon's like, okay, that's it. We're having a wedding and it's family only. And that's it. Family and wedding party. And that's it. and so, yes, Momo is a hot mess and it gets better. Just wait. But wait, there's more. So, all right. So then right before, like 2 days before the before the wedding, my friend Lori, who's supposed to officiate the wedding, she contacts the wedding planner and says, "I just want you to know I've been exposed to COVID. And so I don't know what you want me to do. If you still want me to come, I was at a meeting somewhere, like a business trip or whatever, and I found out that the woman that I had spent a lot of time with ended up with COVID. So I've been exposed. I've already had COVID. I've been vaccinated, but I just wanted you to know." And so Sydney, the wedding planner, tells Momo. So Momo's like, "Oh, okay, fine. Now we get to contact um, old man preacher that she wanted to have for the wedding, to begin with." So she's like, "Oh, I'll call him. He's going to do it." And Braylon's like, "No, he's not." And so Momo, and you have to remember about Momo, she's the boy who cried wolf, right? She's the hypochondriac. She's the one that every time there is a family event, she gets sick or she gets hurt or she has a heart attack. Okay. She's had like 19 heart attacks and like 7 bouts of cancer. Okay. And the woman is still walking the earth. Okay. She's never had a chemo. She's never had a bypass surgery. We've never actually seen her in the hospital. She's always just like, "Oh, yeah, just got out of the hospital. Had a little heart attack, the old ticker. I was in the ICU for a couple days, but I'll be all right. I'll be all right." So, like, we've never actually like visited her in the hospital because she never calls us and tells us when she's in the hospital. She calls us and says she just got out of the hospital. Like, she missed Dewey's funeral because she said she was in the hospital with a heart attack, and she got mad because nobody came to visit her. It's I don't know if any of it's true. I know she's had like 3 or 4 different types of cancer that she swears, that the doctor just wants to keep an eye on it. It's stage 3, but the doctor just wants to keep an eye on it for a year, and we'll come back in a year and we'll take a look at it, you know. And it's almost like everyone in her life has died of cancer, and it's almost like she's willing herself to have cancer because she's the only person so far who has not gotten cancer. So it's, when the spotlight's not on her, when the drama is not on her, suddenly she gets sick and she'll take some homeopathic remedies, and a few months later she'll be cured. So I don't know why she didn't give the homeopathic remedies to her son or to her husband, so that those things that cured her cancer could have cured their cancer, but for some reason she never thought about that. So anyway, it's really hard, and I know I'm being facetious, and I don't really know how sick she's actually been in the past, but it's really hard. If you know anybody like this, it's hard when they always seem to have some illness or medical emergency during these family gatherings, and then it all turns out to be okay. It's really hard to have sympathy or to believe them because it's the cry wolf syndrome. So whenever she says cancer or whatever, we're like, oh, are you okay? Okay. So anyway, and I know she gets so mad at us because we don't ever take her seriously, but like, she's still alive and kicking, and like, she's never lost any hair. Nobody's ever taken her to a chemo appointment. Like, you know what I mean? So anyway, so Sydney, the wedding planner, tells Momo, "No, we're still trying to get Lori to come." And so Momo tells Sydney, "Well, I can't believe you're gonna have somebody who probably has COVID and expose them to a woman who has cancer." And Sydney's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I did not know." And she's like, "Well, it is a secret, and you better not tell anybody. You better not tell a soul. That is secret, and that's my business, and don't tell anybody." Okay, so Sydney does not know about Momo. She does not know, about her issues and the way she does things. And so Sydney is freaking out. She's like, "Oh my God, this woman has just given me like this, this terminal illness or this illness news, and laid this guilt on me of this big secret of hers, and then said, 'Don't tell anybody. Like, don't tell Braylon because I don't want to ruin her day,' and all these things." And so Sydney's like, "Oh my God." So she can't say anything. So she tells Lori, "Yeah, better stay away. Best to stay away just in case," because she doesn't want to be responsible for bringing somebody to the wedding to expose them to somebody with cancer or whatever. And so, Sydney finally just breaks down, and because Braylon's like, "Well, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Oh my gosh, I wanted Lori to do the wedding," and she's all upset. She's like, "This ruins my whole wedding." So Sydney finally breaks down, and she's like, "Look, I wasn't supposed to tell you this, but your mama has cancer. She told me not to tell, but that's why she didn't want Lori to come." And Braylon's like, "Okay, let me tell you something," because we actually even, like, kinda predicted that Momo was gonna come up with a some kind of some kind of health emergency. I mean, it's kinda like you already know it's gonna happen, just like you know she's gonna be late to every single event ever because she's that late person. So anyway, Braylon's like, call me." So she tells her all about Momo. "Look, this is what Momo does. Okay, I mean, I don't know if she really has it this time, but, like, in the past, every time she said she's had it, it's always, like, it's never manifested anything, so this is just her way of controlling things and getting her way and getting the attention on her." And so that generation narcissist, I think it might be. Um, I don't you know what? Momo probably does need to see a psychiatrist or a licensed counselor, but see, Momo doesn't think that there's anything wrong with her up here. And so she's the only one that doesn't think she's crazy. So, anyway, so we really think that it was a way for her to impose her will and you know, to bring the attention, make it all about her. Because when things are not enough about her, she makes them about her. And so then she starts like, you know, having temper tantrums and slamming doors and, well, fine, then I guess, and doing all these things. So things are getting really stressed. And so, okay, during this time, Lori finally decides, okay, we work it out with Lori. We're like, look, you come, okay? We've all been vaccinated. We've all had COVID. Don't cough in anybody's face or whatever. You're not sick. You don't have any symptoms, whatever. We're okay with you coming to this outdoor wedding. So she decides to come. So Momo says, well, I can't attend because it's just too risky for me. Although she won't tell any of us why she can't attend and why it's so risky. Supposedly only Sydney knows about the cancer. So we've all heard, but we're not supposed to know. So we can't address it with her because it's this big secret that none of us are supposed to know. But then she gets mad when we don't give her enough sympathy for something that we're not supposed to even know that is going on anyway. So you see how it all okay. So then one of Braylon's bridesmaids decides, oh, you know what? I can't make it. I can't make it to the wedding. Okay, so we're bridesmaids down. Well, then I mean, just to even out the numbers, right? So this was Braylon's maid of honor. She just canceled. No reason, just I can't make it. This was like a week before the wedding, or maybe a couple days before the wedding. I mean, it was pretty close. So I guess just, fate or karma or whatever, evening out the numbers. The best man, mid-20s, good health, works every day, whatever, is stepping out of his truck just to go to the store or whatever, and his femur breaks. Like his thigh bone just breaks, like in half. Just stepping the wrong way, his leg breaks. So, I mean, I'm laughing. I'm not laughing because he's hurt, because he's okay now. He went to the hospital. I mean, he's got, but like, how does that happen, right? So the maid of honor is not coming, and now the best man is has a broken leg, and that happened like the day before the wedding. So we're down evenly on each side. Um, Also, the day before the wedding, the DJ canceled. Gave no reason, just sorry, can't come. Uh, Also, before, when Braylon thought that the wedding was going to be canceled, she canceled the caterer. And then when she called them back and said, no, the wedding's back on, the caterer's like, well, sorry, too late. I've already booked that day. And so now we can't, she can't get the caterer back. So that's, of course, Momo steps in again. And she's like, don't worry, I got it. So she makes, 3 pans of some coleslaw, some potato salad, some beans, and some barbecue. Okay, we're Southerners. We can handle that. Put it on some Sterno cans, sit it outside. We're good. All right. So, food taken care of. So, and then the morning of the wedding, another bridesmaid calls and just says, oh, by the way, sorry, I'm not coming. No reason, just not coming. Can't, not, I don't know, just Still don't know why, but not coming. So luckily, uh, my youngest daughter and my son had the same outfits as the wedding party. So we filled him in, filled Carter in, filled Dallas in to the wedding party. And we were still a little lopsided, but we were one short on the bridesmaids, but we made it happen. And so, the last minute, like I had to take the day off from work on Friday before the Saturday wedding. Thank God the dress fit Braylon without having to be hemmed. Thank God, because I do not know how I would have hemmed that whole dress. It had lace all around the bottom. I would have had to pick off the whole lace, put it back on, hand sew it back on. I have no idea how I would have made it happen. I would have, but I would not have gotten sleep for 2 days. So luckily, when she got the dress and she tried it on, it fit. It did not need to be hemmed. Hallelujah. Dallas's dress had to be hemmed. It was a pretty simple hem. So I had to do that on the day before the wedding. Braylon wanted a little button put on the back of her train so she could button up the train so it wouldn't, drag behind her. So that was a hand sewn thing. I had to take my old veil that I used when I married Dewey, and we found it, and I cut it up and made it from a long double veil to a short single veil. So I had to cut it all up. I don't know how to make veils, so I just was winging it. So I just cut it out and cut it and, bunched it up and put a little comb on it and hand sewed it. And we made a veil. We made a new veil out of an old veil. So we did that. And then she wanted her dog, Sadie, to be the flower girl / ring bearer. And of course, Sadie needed a tutu. And so I was up until 2 o'clock in the morning, the night before the wedding, making a tutu for a dog. So we got everything done except for the snap on the dress. That's the only thing I didn't get to do because she needed to be wearing it when I was doing it. And we were so busy when she got the dress on that I was like, look, you're just going to have to put the train over your arm. I cannot get this snap done, but I got the veil done. I got the tutu made. I got the bridesmaid's dress hemmed. So we got all of that done. Actually, I've documented most of that prep on film. And so I'm going to edit that, put it together in a video and let you guys see that. But that takes a while because I have to sit down and edit and piece it all together. But I do have that, and I'm going to prepare and let you see like the process and all the stuff that we did. So that should be interesting. And then, Braylon and Austin, my oldest daughter, Braylon and Austin have been best friends forever, but like a month or two before the wedding, they had it out. They got into something, and they weren't speaking to each other. So Braylon didn't invite Austin to the wedding. And then they finally started speaking a little bit before then. And so Austin, like the day before the wedding, said, hey, what's the address? What time is the wedding? I'm going to come. And so Braylon gave her the address. And so she came. And Austin showed up like right as the wedding ceremony ended. Like walked down the aisle, had their little things, and then up drives Austin. So in her defense, she said that she left with enough time to be there by noon, but she hit traffic, and so she missed the wedding. But she was there for the celebration and the reception, and they did all. I had a video of all 4 of my children dancing on the dance floor, and you can just see the style of dancing matches their personalities perfectly. And so I will have to post that. I think I'll post that at the end of the wedding prep video that I'm putting together because it is awesome. Let's just say it's awesome. The last part that I just wanted to say, this is why women outlive men. You all drive us crazy. So, okay. So, okay, that might be true. But anyway, the only last part that I wanted to say is that, so as we were sitting down the night before the wedding, we, the wedding planner, the photographer, JP and I, the 2 younger kids, and Braylon and her fiance, we went out to the Mexican restaurant and just kind of like had a chill dinner, just to kind of let things go. This is when we found out that Maw Maw said, well, I'm not coming to the wedding. And suddenly when she said she wasn't coming, Braylon, her anxiety level just went, like she was just like, okay, cool. Like suddenly there was no more stress for her because she didn't have to worry about what Momo was going to say or do or any of that stuff. We didn't know if she really wasn't gonna come or if she just said she wasn't gonna come, but Braylon's like, "Okay, whatever. If she doesn't wanna come, that is fine. I am not gonna try to please her anymore because this is my day, and I'm not gonna let her affect my day anymore." So as we were sitting at the table, Sydney, the wedding planner, she's like, "Oh, let me just say, Leo, that Momo just loves you." And I was like, "What?" She was like, "Oh yeah, she has done nothing but go on and on and on and on and on and talk about how much of a selfish bitch you are, about how you stole Dewey's life insurance money from her and you are so selfish and you are this," and like all the things that she said about me at Dewey's funeral, all the things that she tells everybody else about me at the time, like all of these things, she has just, that woman is such a bitch and she's such a selfish bitch. And I can't believe my son ever married that woman. And just, I mean, just spitting toxin and poison and all this. And Sydney had never met me before when she's hearing all this stuff from Mama. And so I'm sitting next to her and she's like, wow. She said, she's just telling me all these things. I've never met this woman. And she's just, wow, she is just telling all these things about how much she just cannot stand you. And I was like, yeah, well, that's no surprise. Like, it's nothing new. Right. But at the time, when she's telling us all this stuff, I'm thinking, well, I mean, like, who is actually supposed to get life insurance money when a man dies and his wife of 17 years still has 4 children to raise? Like, who do you think should get the money? The mother of the man who's passed away, or his wife so she can raise their children? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. How can I be selfish because I got life insurance money from my husband? By the way, it was not something through his job. This was a private life insurance that we paid into for years. We paid the money for the life insurance, policy. We paid it. So I still don't understand how she thinks that I am so selfish that I got most of the money. And I even said, well, did she mention to you that she got $50,000 of that money? Did she mention that part? She was like, oh no, she never said anything about that. I said, yeah, she got money. She got exactly what Dewey wanted her to get, exactly to the penny what he wanted her to get. But for whatever reason, she feels like that I slighted her out of whatever money. And she does not hesitate to tell everyone in within earshot 6 years later how I'm so horrible and selfish and I took all that money from her. So, which I still just find just amazingly, like you guys said, narcissistic. Yeah. Like, um, so Gigi says beneficiary on the policy. Yeah. So long story short, Momo was never a beneficiary on the policy. In his mind, he always wanted her to be. He always wanted her to have that amount, that $50,000. You know how people never get around to changing stuff. And so when he was in hospice, like a week before he died, he was like, I want to make sure my mom gets that $50,000. I said, don't worry. I will make sure she gets it. He's like, no, I want it like on paper. I want to be sure so that she knows how much I wanted her to get, so that there's no question, so that I don't have to worry. Like, while I'm busy dying right now. I don't want to have to worry about what happens after. And so I was like, okay. So I helped him when we walked into hospice 10 days before he died. I was 100% the beneficiary. So I printed up the change of beneficiary policy, paperwork. I helped him change the numbers and the percentages and fill it out the way he wanted to so that his mom could get the 50,000. He signed the paperwork, could barely sign his name. He could not stay awake long enough to write 2 letters. He would write the D and the E and fall asleep, and I'd wake him up and write. So obviously he's on so many drugs, he could barely even sign his name, which is why his signature doesn't look like his regular signature. So because I refused to sign it for him because I knew that that was illegal. And to be honest, I don't even know if it was really legal for him to be doing that stuff with all the drugs that he was on anyway. But I wanted to make sure that I helped him execute what he wanted. And so I took the paperwork to the fax place at Office Depot and I faxed that shit in a week before he died to make sure that the beneficiary got changed so that she could get from $0 to the 50,000 that he wanted her to have. So what she fails to see is that if it wasn't for me, she would have gotten nothing. I made it so that she got that money. But she thinks that the money was already she thinks that she was supposed to get some other amount, I guess, and she thinks that I went in and reduced the amount to the 50,000 and took money away from her, and that she was supposed to get all this other money. I don't know why she thinks that. I don't know where she got the idea from, but she thinks that I slighted her. Trust me, if I was going to slight her, I would not have given her $50,000. I would have given her 10 just to make it look good. Like, I wouldn't have never why would I have done that? So what kills me is that I made it possible for her to get some money that her son wanted her to have, and she goes around telling everybody that I'm a selfish bitch and stole all of the life insurance money. What the heck, guys? Anyway, and you all know if you've watched for a while that she ended up contesting it all. She held it up in court. It took forever. I lost a car in the process. I almost got evicted in the process. And at the end of the day, we had to mediate, and she still got the $50,000 exactly like she was supposed to get on the paperwork to begin with, minus all the lawyer's fees and all that shit that she had to put us through. And so, and she still swears that, it was my fault that she didn't get the money that she was supposed to get. So there you go. And so, anyway, the last little piece that I will share of drama is that Sydney was telling me, the wedding planner, she's telling me about she's like, oh, yeah, Momo was showing me the pictures, the wedding album from y'all's wedding. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's kind of funny because that's my wedding album of my wedding. I said, I've never even seen those pictures. Never. In 22 years, I've never seen my wedding pictures because she had them delivered to her and she had them in the wedding albums. And I take that back. She had shown me the wedding album a couple of times, way back when we were kind of still getting along or whatever. But she made it very clear that those were her pictures. And so I never got wedding pictures. I don't have any wedding pictures of my own wedding because she claims that they're hers. And in all honesty, she did pay for them. Okay. Because she paid for a lot of the stuff at our weddings, just like she did for Braylon or whatever. She also told the wedding planner, she texted her, well, I'm going to lose my house on account of all the money that I've spent for this wedding. And so she always says she's going to lose her house. Her house is paid for, but she always has to pay the property taxes. And that's another thing that she said. She's going to lose her house about every other month. I'm going to lose my house. They're going to sell it on the courthouse steps next Tuesday because I can't pay my property taxes. So that's always another thing. I'm going to lose my house. I'm going to lose my house. She's never lost her house. And, she's had the house for almost 20 years. And so I'm sure that's our fault too. And she also said that another selfish thing of me was that I cannot believe that Braylon's own mother has not done anything for this wedding. She's done nothing to help with this wedding. But I don't feel like I should have to get in an argument with her and give her a list and a rundown of what I've done. I paid $600 for the wedding dress. I made the tutu for the dog. I made the veil. I hemmed the dress. I bought the dress for Dallas. I bought the suit for Carter. I bought myself a dress. JP bought himself a suit. We gave them money for the honeymoon. But I don't even think she deserves an explanation. I should not have to explain to her what I did or what I didn't do for my daughter's wedding. We told her up front what we were able to do. This is what we were able to do. And I'm sorry that doesn't cover a whole big wedding, but this is what we're able to do. Take this offer and do what you will. And anything else you want above that is going to have to be on you, however you decide to come up with it. Time to take the heater off. And so, I don't know what else she expects. We told her up front, this is all we can handle. So I'm sorry, we can't do anything more. I'm not leveraging my house so my daughter can get married. If Momo leveraged her house, that's on her. So I don't know if she wants sympathy for that or whatever. But anyway, so she told me about the wedding, she showed me all the pictures of the wedding. And I was like, yeah, that's funny. Cause that's mine. That's my wedding. Those are my wedding pictures. And she was like, well, I know where they are. And so she's like, do you want them? I was like, yeah, I would kind of like to have them. And so she's like, I'll be right back. So she so she goes and takes the golf cart up to the house. 10 minutes later, she comes down at high speed holding this holding these 2 little wedding albums in her hand. She said, "Yeah, Momo caught me getting the wedding albums." And, she said, "I had to come up with a real fast excuse." And she was like, "I told her that the photographer needed them for the pictures so he could do like a before and after, like a old and new kind of wedding shots." And so she was like, "Okay, but, make sure I get these back." And so this is probably terrible, but she gave me the wedding albums that I've never had. And, because they're from my wedding and they have pictures of my children, my child. I had one child at the time, my child, my husband, myself, my dress. And so she got me those wedding albums. And so I took them back. I didn't take them back. I took them because they should have been mine to begin with. And so, like I said, I know that she might have been the one to pay for it, but those are my wedding pictures. What does she even need with them? And she got a couple of framed pictures of our wedding on her walls. So it's not like she has nothing. She has some pictures already framed up on her walls and displayed. So she has some pictures, but these are just like, snapshots and wedding party and kids and throwing the bouquet and cutting the cake and all that kind of stuff, and so I have them now. And so, yeah, I mean, she also has the video of the birth of Braylon, and she let me see it one time and then she kept it, and I've never seen it since, and she won't give it to me. And so that's the birth of my child that she won't let me have. So it's just evilness. But anyway, and then to wrap it all up, Momo did not come to the wedding. She was up on the porch in her bathrobe with her cigarettes and her hair all messed up and her slippers. And rumor has it that she couldn't come to the wedding because she had chemo. She had a chemo appointment. The wedding was on a Saturday. I don't know if chemo happens on Saturdays. I'm not real sure. But, she knew what date the wedding was for months. So if she knew that she had chemo, if she really did have chemo, she could have changed the date and said, "Hey, my granddaughter's getting married, so I can," or she could have changed the time or whatever. So it's not like suddenly she had chemo that she couldn't get out of. I seriously doubt she actually had chemo to begin with. I don't know. Maybe she does or did, but we're not supposed to know anyway because it's a big secret. So we can't even ask about it because we're not supposed to know. And then she tells Dallas, my youngest, "You can stay with me. You can spend the night with me and I'll bring you home tomorrow." It's a 2.5 hour drive. I was like, "Are you sure that you want to stay with her?" Dallas is like, "Yeah, she said she was going to take me to get my nails done tomorrow. So she can take me to get my nails done." So we drove home Saturday night, 2.5 hours, get home. I slept for 14 hours that night. I was asleep by 7:30 and I got up at 9:30 to a text from Maw Maw that says, "You need to come get Dallas. I'm too sick to drive. It's not safe." So I had to drive back to Rome 2.5 hours the next day on Sunday to go get Dallas and drive 2.5 hours back home on Sunday so that I could go back to work on Monday. So yeah. And then when I saw her, I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" "I'm sick. I'm real sick. I'm just real sick." But she still won't say cancer. And she's like, "But don't worry. It ain't nothing that anyone can catch. It ain't contagious. So don't worry. Can't catch it. Let me just say that the medicine for it is horrendous. And losing 21 pounds in 2 weeks just it ain't helping nothing. But I'll be okay." But she still won't say cancer and she still won't say chemo. So I'm like, "Oh, well, that sucks. I'm so sorry. Okay, well, see ya." I don't know what else she wants. And on top of that, so when I finally got home, I texted her and I texted her this long thing and I finally got it off my chest and I was not even rude about it. But I was like, "Look, I don't know what's going on with you, but the wedding planner told me everything that you said about me. And regardless of how you feel, those are my children that you're talking to. And it's really not a good idea to talk shit about somebody's mom to them and then think that they're going to take your side. Because what usually happens is they defend their mom. And so if you think you're going to get closer to the kids by trashing me, then yeah, it's probably not a good idea. And if you want me to be your shoulder to cry on, if you want to be the ear to listen when you want to complain about all your health issues, whatever they might be, after you have trashed my name to everyone on the planet and you wonder why I don't want to do anything to help you. I don't want to listen to you complain, and I don't have time to deal with any of your mess. And when my children go stay with you, all you do is talk shit about me. So at this point, you are welcome in my home at any time. You can come and see my children anytime you want, but I will not be bringing them back to stay with you because I don't know what you're going to be saying about me. And in order to protect my integrity and my relationship with them, I need to be able to know what you're saying about me in front of them. So if you want to see my kids from now on, you come to my house. So that's the wedding story. That's the drama. At the end of the day, let me say some good things. All 4 of my kids were at the wedding. My daughter looked gorgeous. Her hair was perfect. Her makeup was flawless. Her body was an hourglass. Her dress fit like a glove. She got to pick the music that she wanted to pick. We all did dance on the dance floor. Her dog came down with that tutu and was on her best behavior. We had a really nice chair that sat right next to me that had Dewey's drill sergeant hat, his boots, his dog tags, a couple of keychains that he had made with paracord, a little sign. I can't remember the sign saying something about if heaven wasn't so far away, I would be here today, or some kind of thing like that, sitting on that. There was a picture of Braylon and him together. So, and that was really hard for me because it was sitting on this side and then JP was sitting on that side. So it was very bittersweet to see her walking down the aisle, knowing that her dad was not there to see it. But I know he was seeing, I know he was watching. And, you know, at the end of the day, she's in love with her husband. They did get married. Nobody came and crashed the day. The cake was delicious. The food was hot. It rained, but we were underneath a tent and nobody got wet. So nobody got in a fist fight. Nobody argued and, argued out loud in the middle of her day. The person that she wanted to marry her, my friend Lori, she was officiated the wedding. And so, when it all comes down to it, the wedding was nice. It was small, but all the people that she cares about were there, or at least they're in spirit. And the people who would have caused any problems, just the trash took itself out. Like the people who would have caused issues just didn't come. And so it turned out to be okay, because at the end of the day, it would be better to have a memory of those people not being there than a memory of them there and bad stuff happening, and have memories of arguments or fights or police being called or weapons being drawn or, anything like that. So at the end of the day, it was a success because my daughter was happy. She married a really wonderful man who really adores her and takes care of her, and they really do love each other. And she was happy, she feels like the wedding was a success. I've seen several of the pictures already. They're fantastic. She had a really good photographer. Her dog was there. Her mom was there. All of her siblings were there. And so, as best as we could make it happen, we made it happen. And so, like I said, I know I shared a lot of the drama because that's just how we roll. But, like I said, at the end of the day, it was a beautiful wedding, and it's over. And they're married, and that stress is behind me. So, I'm happy about that. I'm going to go back and look at some of these. I haven't been able to look at the chats because I've been busy running my mouth. Let's see. Hello, so good to see you. Momo is a hot mess, and we all know, because if y'all have watched videos before, Momo is a hot mess, and weddings are stressful to plan. My mom drove me nuts. Yes, narcissistic generation, I agree. Joni says this is too much. What the heck? Yeah, I'd be wanting to know why. With all these people, we all know what Tim said about women outliving men. Okay, Tim. All right. You're outnumbered on this chat right now. How did it go with JP walking her down the aisle? Thank you for asking. It went really well. So JP was really nervous. He only had one thing that he had to say, and all he had to say was, I, John Donnell, on behalf of her dad, Dewey Bennett, give this bride away, or whatever order. And so he practiced it really a lot in his head, and he did just great. So he walked her down the aisle. he announced that on behalf of her dad, he gave her away, and she thanked him, and it was very sweet. He was very touched that she would even ask him to do that for her, and I was touched as well that she wanted him to be a part of that, and, so they have a pretty good relationship, I would have to say, and it was rocky in the beginning. I mean, they have had some moments because she was 17 when we got married, when we got together, so just so you know. Uh Let's see. Wife and kids, mommy dearest. Yeah, it's kind of a mommy dearest kind of a thing. Yeah, wife and kids, and oh my god, I had to say, but it's always about the money. Yeah, when life insurance, it is always about the money. Beneficiary on the policy, yeah, we talked about that. I'm surprised she got anything. Yeah, and the only reason why she got anything was because Dewey was an only child, and he did feel sorry for his mom, and he knew how she could be, but she did help him. She did help when he was sick. She came and lived with us, and she took him to his appointments, his chemotherapy appointments and his doctor's appointments so that I could work, so that I could keep the bills paid. And, so she did help. I'm not going to take that away from her. But, it was tough because it was the two women in the house um, trying to get his attention and trying to get the last moments of his life and to see who could get the most out of him at that time. And we were arguing, and he had to break, he had to get in the middle and referee us with cancer while he was dying, and I have some regrets about that, about how I acted, but, in the heat of the moment, it was trying to steal my thunder. So Nicole Ruth says, sounds like your mother-in-law. Is there really any reason for you to still have this woman in your life? So Jonice, that's a good question. And for the first year or so, I did not speak to her at all. The only reason why I even speak to her at all is because my children ask me. I miss Maw Maw. I want to see Momo. And as they've gotten older, they do understand how she is. But they also it's still also their grandmother. And so they complain about her, but they don't want to cut her out of their life completely because it's their dad's mom, And so they have, as the older they get, the less they want to have to do with her because she's toxic. But as they grow up, they're starting to see it, because it's not for me to tell them about how she is. It's for them to experience it themselves. Because otherwise it would just be me bad mouthing her like she does to me. And I don't want to do that. So when they get mad at her, it's because something she does to them, not because me telling them what she said or did. And so, if they don't want to have anything to do with her at any given time, then that will be their decision, and I will respect it. But basically, that's the only reason why I have anything to do with her, is because of my children and because I'm a human. And I hate to say it, but she's a widow and she has no one else except for my kids. And, as narcissistic as she is, and as toxic as she is, you know, I can't excuse it, but I do understand. She's lonely and bitter, and she has no one else to take it out on except me. And it's still not right, but I still feel bad for her because she has been dealt the crappiest blow of, she lost her husband. Her first husband died of cancer. Her second husband died of cancer. Her son died of cancer. Her stepson killed himself a few years after her son died. And so she's had a raw deal, and I feel sorry for her. But unfortunately, I'm also the target of her bad toxic feelings, and so it's not fair to me. But at the same time, I'm like, golly, I just feel sorry for her. And so she's the kid's grandma, yeah. And that's all I can say about that. And awful woman, oh my gosh, all while you were grieving, yes. And she feels like she was grieving too, so I guess she felt like she had the right. But you're generous to have her around now. Man, Leo, admire your tenacity. That fight with Momo going to court after your husband died, that would have put me 6 feet under. So, well, that fight, I had to fight because I had to have that money, because otherwise I would not have been able to pay my bills. And so, and I wasn't about to let her have the money that I paid into, that I needed to raise our children the way he wanted. So I kind of didn't really have a choice. But um I can't take this with the pigs. Nope, none of her business. Between you and her daughter are the finances. Stop letting that woman upset you. She is not worth it. You're right. And for the most part, I usually don't get upset until I start telling the stories. And then when I start telling the stories, I'm like, I get a little heated. Andrea says she has issues like reverse Oedipus in love with her son. I truly do believe there are some weird, she just has a way, like she puts her hands all over men all the time. If there's a man anywhere, she's, the groom, she was all over him while they were doing stuff. She'll come to my house, she'll be all over JP. She has met my first husband, Austin's dad. She's been all over him before. Like, she's just kind of like one of those kind of women. And she tries to manipulate men with her physicalness. I don't know how else to say it, but yeah, that's how she acts. so so clearly the lady has issues. Yeah, she does have issues. She honestly thought that Dewey wanted, she wanted Dewey to be buried in the family cemetery plot and have me on one side and her on the other. And I said, hell no to that, because that's really not what he wanted. He wanted to be in the military cemetery, and that's where he is. And so, but she doesn't think that's what he wanted. If she has them, she bought them. She can't claim she paid for them. She did it for me. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you really want to get down to it, I guess she bought them. But yeah, I mean, she's taken so much from me that I just don't really feel guilty about taking those pictures from her. Just saying, because those are pictures of me too that I want to be able to enjoy and see, before I die. So she wants to take me to court for them. She can try. That's all I have to say about that. She's if that's all I've ever taken from her, trust me, it's a small thing compared to what she's done to me. She's ridiculous. What a witch. Or for your husband, she wanted it for herself, and she could tell people that because they'll be super impressed. She's toxic. Yeah. My mother-in-law did the same thing with my kids and talking trash about me until finally I told her off. Like, why? Honestly, I don't get it either. So yeah, I totally get that. I think it's a common thing for women and their I don't want to say ex-mother-in-law, but the mother-in-law of their spouse who passed away. It's a weird dynamic there. Some people can still have a healthy, good, loving relationship, but a lot of times it kind of gets messed up, I think. The wedding sounds beautiful considering everything. And I'm proud of you for standing up for yourself. Congratulations to the happy couple. I believe God stepped in. I do agree with that too. And as a matter of fact, for those Christians who are listening in, Braylon did say, we're going to start our marriage in the right way. And so 2 weeks before they got married, she's like, we're going to start going to church. So they went to church the 2 weeks before the wedding. She brought him to church with us, and he got saved that day. And so, hallelujah to that. So they are starting their marriage on the right foot, and you will be a great mother-in-law. Well, I've learned what not to do. I can say that much. So glad you picked a good guy and it has all worked out. Yeah, I do think that he's a good guy. I really do think that he loves Braylon, and I haven't known him all that long, but from what I've seen and heard of him, he seems to be a very nice guy, and I do like him. Keep the good memories, leave the rest behind. I agree. Does Momo live alone? Sounds like she is lonely. She does live alone with lots and lots of pets. So yeah, she lives alone. I don't know that anybody would be able to put up with her. Then digitally reproduce the photos. Good idea. Yeah. Oh, really? Really, guys? Right before we get to sign off. Right before we about to sign off, we get one of those nasty grams. Let's remove that. Yep. We'll delete that. Anyway, I know. Like the bot has to come in after we've been on here for an hour. Oh, wait. Okay. So anyway, just wanted to share with you all that drama. Sometimes it's kind of nice to hear about other people's drama, and then you can maybe appreciate that you don't have that kind of drama. Or if you do have that kind of drama, you can be like, girl, I know exactly what you're going through because I've been through it too. So it's just one of those things. We kind of expect it. I hate to say it, but we sort of expect, we kind of wait for it to happen. And when it doesn't, we're like, hold on a minute. What? Okay, when no drama happened. We always start to like look over our shoulder and think, what? We're waiting for the other shoe to drop. And so, and we kind of joke about it. We say it in a laughing way, and we kind of make jokes about it between us and stuff, but it's not right. And it's really not funny, but I've always been that person like that. I laugh about things maybe inappropriately, but just like I laugh to keep them crying, or I make jokes about it. Like we make jokes about it a lot because we can either laugh about it or we can cry about it. And so we just choose to we just kind of make fun of her between us. And it makes us feel better, and that's just kind of what we do. So anyway, I'll have to share the updates about the job with you guys some other time, but there's really not a whole lot of updates except for the fact that it's still hard. My body doesn't hurt as much because I'm getting used to the walking. I'm starting to get, my students are starting to get in line, so I'm okay with that. I'm starting to, get them into a routine, but just the workload of paperwork and lesson plans and paperwork, it's just killing me. So, yeah, I'm almost halfway done with the school year though. When we come back after I get this whole week off for Thanksgiving, hallelujah. And we come back for 3 weeks and 2 days. And in that time, we'll just be wrapping up stuff and taking final exams. And then I'll get 2.5 weeks off for Christmas. And then when we come back, we'll have the second semester. So at the Christmas break is the halfway point of the school year. So 3 more weeks to the halfway point. And then it's like February, March time comes around, contracts come out. And once contracts come out and I can refuse my contract for next year, then I'm like a free agent. I will stay at the job, but the contracts are for the next school year. So once I refuse my contract, I am free to start searching for my next job for next year. So hopefully my attention will be on, I will continue teaching and doing my job, but my focus will be on doing interviews and updating my resume and putting together my portfolio and searching for job openings and doing more interviews and maybe trying to finagle my availability to others and maybe tweak the job that I'm in now to have them make it something that I can actually keep. So if they would make some changes for me at this job for next year, I would stay. And I've already told them what they are. If they'll give me an extra planning period to be a teacher coach, I would do that. I even told them if they wanted me to go part-time, I would do it part-time, resource only. I will teach those classes and then I will go home. I will teach until lunch and I will teach 2 classes and I will go home. Or I will teach all day for 1 semester and then teach for just the 1 semester and be done by Christmas. So I told them that and they were like, we'll get back to you. So they're considering let me go part-time next year. If that happens, I can spend more time doing widow stuff and building up the channel and doing more YouTube and all those kinds of things. Would love to see your wedding photo of me and Dewey. So yeah, I need to post that. So yeah, I'll put that all together. Maybe I'll put like a mine and his and hers and whatever. And then Braylon did come like a few days after the wedding and she was like, I got this surprise for you, Mom. And it was a little weird because with JP seeing it, it was weird for JP to see it. But what she did was she took a picture from the wedding of her and me. So it was her and then me. And on the other side of me, she had her husband's brother who does Photoshop stuff to Photoshop a picture of Dewey standing next to me with his head kind of over on my shoulder. So it looks like me and Dewey are standing there next to her in her wedding dress. And so, and she put it in this like little black and white and printed it out. So it was very cool. If you look real close, you can tell it's Photoshopped, but it was really cool to see because it looks like it was the 3 of us standing there in a picture. So JP saw it and he was like, that's cool. But it's weird for him. You know what I mean? Because it's present day me with my late husband standing next to me. So I have to admit, if I saw a picture of present day him with his late wife standing next to him in a picture, that would be weird for me too. I get that. But it was still a cool thing for her to have, especially. And she even sent it to Momo. And so I'm sure Momo probably will take it and just like cut me out of the middle and then just she'll probably Photoshop herself over top of me. And then it'll be perfect. And she'll have it framed and put into a 4 by 6 foot mural on the wall of her living room. And then she'll be happy. So anyway, so yeah, we got all that stuff done. But last thing I want to tell you that is something I'm working on. Don't ask me how I'm going to do it, but I am going to. But I am working on sometime over the Christmas break. I will have this available, but I'm going to open up my availability to a very small select number of people to do one-on-one widow coaching. So, and I feel like that would be my best way to offer help and support to people who really need it. since I can't really come into the group and do like I don't have time to just come into the group and scroll through like I used to and like react to everybody's posts and give feedback specifically. I will one day when I don't have as much job stuff to do, like maybe if I go part-time. I can't really do that because I have to pop in and pop in and pop in. But I felt like there are some people who would benefit from one-on-one help. And so I'm going to just open a few slots of that. And that way I can schedule it at a specific time, and then I can give all of my attention to that one person and be able to help them through whatever their goals might be to pivot or to get through fresh grief or to get through anticipatory grief or to figure out why it is that they're not moving forward the way they want to and it's been a long time or whatever their issues might be. So it'll be a very select few, like probably less than 10. But that way I can open up my availability to the people who want that one-on-one or need that one-on-one. It's not going to be counseling or therapy because I'm not a counselor or therapist. It's just going to be a talk it out with a fellow widow, and just share some of the things that has helped me in the past. And so if you are interested in anything like that, just stay tuned because I will have that interest sign up available for people who are interested. I will be doing interviews and just selecting a few people who are interested in doing something like that. So if I can concentrate it and put it on my schedule, for hour here, an hour there, and an hour there, then I can give all my attention to that person at that time and then feel like I'm still helping people without feeling like I have to be part of the group and the YouTube and the answering and emails all the time. I can just kind of concentrate on those few who need it the most. And then when my availability opens back up, that's when I'm going to do my community group. Because I'm trying to come up with I want us to have a WIDFAM community, like a specific community where we do book readings and we do craft alongs and we do weight loss challenges and all that kind of stuff. But I honestly don't have the time to do it right now. And if I tried to do it, it wouldn't be fair to those who sign up because I would not be able to offer that what you need and I would promise you something that I could not follow through with. And I won't do that to you. And so that's down the road, maybe next year. But the individual coaching slots, I will be opening those up in the next month or so. So anyway, stay tuned or spread the word if you know of anybody who might be interested in doing that. And I think that surprise from your daughter is brilliant and much needed for her emotions. I agree. All right. So, we went long today. I figured it was going to because I had lots of drama and stories for you from the wedding. And so if you hung in there for this long, thank you so much. Don't forget, next month, Vlogmas is coming. Last year I did Vlogmas. It was tough. I did pre-recorded for 12 days in a row. And I think I might have skipped 1 or 2 days. It was really hard because I had to do editing. This year I am going to do Vlogmas, the 12 days leading up to Christmas every day. But I think most of them are going to be live. So I think I'm just going to set a time to go live every day for 12 days. And whatever we happen to be doing at that time, I'll just bring you along with me. If I just have stories to tell, I'll sit here and tell them. If we're doing something out and about, I'll take my camera with me, my phone with me, and I will just do an impromptu. This is still a surprise from JP, but if y'all followed along from way before, our baby donkeys were born. And so they'll be ready to come home in about March. And so we need to go see the donkeys. We still haven't seen them yet. They were born last month. And so we got 2 baby girl donkeys that we need to go see. And I can't take JP to see them because he doesn't know we're still getting them. And we got to come up with names. Maybe I'll do a drawing and let you guys help us name one of them. So we got to do donkey names. We got to do a donkey visit. I think that'll be one of the days that we do our 12 days of Christmas. We got to decorate the tree. We've got to do, we got a bunch of boxes that we have to burn. So we'll do a bonfire one of those nights. We are going to go shopping one of these days for Dallas because she's going to be going to real school next semester. She wants some new wardrobe, all that good kind of stuff. So that will start whatever day the 12 days before Christmas comes. I don't know what that is. The 13th, the 12th, the 10th, the 20, I don't know, whatever. I'll have to count backwards. I don't do math on my days off. All right. So, oh, Louise says best cream channel. That's so sweet. All right. So I'm still here. If you don't see me for a couple days here at a time, just know I am in the background. I'm working my butt off trying to get back to, so I can support all of you because I miss all of you and I miss all the contact that I had, the frequent contact. Look, we got 33 people. 33. That's our magic number. Oh, now it's 34. Okay. Anyway, those 33s, they come and hit us all the time. All right, so that's going to be it. I'm going to wrap it up now. I will hopefully in the next week. This week, since I'm not at work, I will work on getting the wedding prep pictures, videos, and all that stuff. You'll get to see a little bit of my crafting room and all the mess that's in there. And I will put all that together and I will post that sometime this week on YouTube. And then I'll go on the group and let you know when it's ready to go. If you haven't already um, applied to be a member of the group, do that. Okay. The link is down below or it's at the top of this chat. If you want to check out the Grief Pivot course, go on there. If you need to download your free journal pages, go on there. And I think that is about it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the bell so that you won't miss another video coming up. And I guess that's going to be it. So take care, Wid fam. Thank you so much. I love all of you. And I will see you very soon. Have a good Thanksgiving. If I don't see you before then, good Thanksgiving. And we'll talk about how that went and see how it went with you guys too when we catch back up. Bye.